Well guys, I'll try and keep this short and sweet tonight because you probably won't want me talking too long on the back of a really disappointing result for Newcastle. God, it's still hammering down here. It's just after 11 o'clock. Rain still coming down, windy. What a night it was in terms of conditions. And it was just one of those nights, I think, where it just wouldn't fall for Newcastle at the end. I'm still here quite late tonight because I've just been in the mix zone area doing a couple of interviews with Joe Willock and Joe Linton, who are both obviously down about the result but just sure that Newcastle are going to come back from this. And yeah, listen, it'll feel difficult at the moment, of course it will, because you know, I think everyone was expecting Newcastle to win. I think a draw would have been the least they would have expected, and I think come the end of it I felt Newcastle deserved a draw in terms of chances, in terms of possession second half. But when you look at the game, the full game, I think Dortmund were probably the most comfortable side in terms of the way they managed the game, the way they managed the ball, and I just think all the changes for Newcastle just kind of cost them towards the end. But you know, two really big chances, both hitting the crossbar. The one in the last couple of seconds, I think it was Almiron deflected onto the crossbar, and then the header from, I think it was Wilson or Lascelles, I think it was Wilson. You know, if one of them drops in, Newcastle get a draw. The group looks completely different. Newcastle are sat there in 5 points, 3 points above Borussia Dortmund, but as it is, both teams now level on points and Dortmund above them in the head-to-head. So yeah, it's fine margins in football, and Eddie Howe's just said that in the press conference after. He said, look, it just was not going to go in for us today. Whatever we tried, the ball wasn't going to go in. It felt very much like that. I felt watching the game that Newcastle didn't cope with the conditions as well as Dortmund did. I thought there was opportunities they had to play the ball, to fizz it in along the ground, cause the goalkeeper problems. They didn't. They kind of floated it up to the back post or into an area where nobody was, and I don't know, I just felt the wrong decision was taken at times. I also felt Isak going off injured early on, 12-13 minutes. The team didn't look, they looked a little bit disjointed after that. I just think in these big Champions League matches with Isak's pace in behind, I think he really troubles defenders. He gives them a lot to think about, and I think top level defenders will struggle up against someone like Isak. I think perhaps Wilson, you know, although he had that chance in the second half, and although we all know he's a top player, I think he maybe doesn't give the defenders as much to think about in terms of his running in behind and his pace. And you know, I think you noticed the difference. I really think Newcastle struggled to adapt after Isak was taken off, and I think that was a real blow for them. But as I say, in another night, Gordon's had the 2 chances saved in the first half. Wilson's had this one just down at the Gallagate here. And of course the 2 off the crossbar. How Newcastle didn't score tonight, I don't know. First time they've not scored this season. They should have, they could have. And you know, I just hope that isn't the one they look back on and say that's the one that cost us, because I think even a draw tonight at half time, I said in the press box at half time, I said a draw would be a good result out of this, given how good Borussia Dortmund looked. They just looked like they handled the occasion really well. I thought their players looked comfortable in the ball. I thought Mecha, who scored the opening goal, was excellent, and Eddie Howe's just admitted in the press room afterwards that he's a player that they were interested in the summer, but they didn't get it done. And of course we all know Newcastle went for Sandro Tonali instead and spent a lot more money on him, and it looks as though Tonali's going to be out for a long time. But again, Eddie's talking about small margins and decisions in football and things happening. There's another example of something that's maybe not quite gone for them there, and they're going to miss Tonali for a long time. Talking about players they're going to miss, it looks like Isak has got a recurrence of his groin problem, according to Eddie Howe. The groin injury picked up, I think it was against West Ham a couple of weeks ago, so that's slightly concerning because he's obviously one of their top players. Already missing Sven Botman, of course. What I will say is Lascelles has come in, and I thought he was excellent again tonight. I really thought Lascelles and Schär were very, very good at the heart of the defence, ably assisted by Nick Pope, who made 2 or 3 really good saves, particularly that double save in the first half. Also injury wise, it looks like a suspected shoulder injury for Jacob Murphy. So if that's the case, dislocated shoulder, he's going to be out for weeks, maybe longer than that. So that's a real concern for him. And also Elliot Anderson, who he's just said afterwards the reason he was missing tonight is he's got a back problem. It's my information. I think it's a stress fracture in the back, and he could be out for a number of weeks. So that's another one gone, another one down. So 3 injuries tonight on top of what was there already. The squad was just beginning to look stronger again. Although Botman was out, with Joe Linton coming back, Joe Willock coming back, just beginning to look stronger. And you thought, you know what, they're going to deal with the loss of Tonali here, and now suddenly it's going to look very thin on the ground for the next couple of months by the look of things. So yeah, listen. Disappointing on the whole. I don't think it felt flat tonight. It just felt it wasn't quite the same atmosphere as PSG a couple of weeks ago. I know that was the first Champions League game back after 2 decades, and I understand it. Just maybe before the game, I don't know if it was the conditions or maybe just a slight level of expectancy after the PSG game. It wasn't quite as raucous as it was here at St James's Park. As it was against PSG, and I don't know if that maybe played into the Germans' hands a little bit. Not too sure. But yeah, just a frustrating night, I think, all round. I could sense Eddie was frustrated there. As I say, I've just spoken to Joe Willock in the mix zone there. I had an interview with him, and that's a real plus point, getting him back. I think on his days, arguably Newcastle's most influential midfielder in terms of what he does with goals and drifting into spaces and running with the ball, getting the team up the pitch. So if they can try and get him back fairly quickly, and by all accounts he's in really good shape already, then that'll offset the loss of Tonali and Anderson for the next few weeks. So that's the bonus from tonight as far as I'm concerned. But it's difficult when you've lost a game like that at home, when you could have got something out of it, and you've got the injuries on top of it. It just seems like a bit of a double whammy, and a difficult one to take. But listen, there's no option now. They just need to dust themselves down against Wolves at the weekend, and then on to Manchester United, and then we move on to the Champions League the week after. Arsenal in between. Some huge games coming. Newcastle cannot feel sorry for them, and Eddie Howe will not allow them to feel sorry for them. You know that's what he's like. It was just a punishing defeat that tonight, given everything they put into it, given the chances they had. Imagine how different it would have felt if that chance from Almiron right at the end there had gone in off the underside of the crossbar and Newcastle had escaped with a point. It would have made a huge difference to the group. Now it's looking like they're going to have a real challenge in the hand. They're going to have to go to PSG and Dortmund and get something out of at least one of those games. They really are, because they can't just leave it. They can't leave it on 4 points up until the last game against AC Milan here in December at home. But listen, another amazing night. Great kind of occasion in terms of, I think Newcastle fans just, you all know this, you don't need me to tell you, but just being back here is just amazing again. But of course you want to win. You don't want to just come and get walloped every night. So listen, the team competed, they had chances on another night, could have won the match, felt unlucky, really unlucky towards the end. They need to just dust themselves down and go again. So yeah, it was a bit of a pulsating night. I'm soaked to the skin, absolutely soaked to the skin, sitting down there in about row 4 tonight. It was it was pretty crazy at times, but it's the kind of conditions. I was watching the match, I was thinking, God, I would love to play in that tonight. Absolutely love to play in those conditions. Top men for me, as I say, the back two, I thought Lascelles and Schär were good. I thought Pope was very good. I felt the midfield three a bit disjointed. I know Joe Linton, as he just alluded to there in the interview room, he's not quite 100% fit yet. You could see that. Bruno wasn't quite at it tonight. Same with Sean Longstaff. First half got caught in possession a couple of times, and I think if your 3 midfielders aren't at it, it's going to be difficult to win games. I actually thought once Tonali came on alongside Bruno in midfield, they looked a lot more solid. But we're probably going to find out about Tonali's ban tomorrow, so they're going to have, the team are just going to have to get used to life without him. So anyway, punishing night for Newcastle tonight. Don't want to go on too long because I know you guys all probably agree with a lot of what I'm saying here, but listen, a lot worse things can happen. The group is still alive, and you go to Dortmund, and I'm sure you're all going to enjoy yourselves in a couple of weeks. You go there, get a draw in Dortmund, and suddenly it's looking a lot better again. So that's it from me, guys. The lights are probably going to go out here at St James's Park pretty soon, where of course it ended Newcastle 1, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. But remember, it's Champions League football, and everyone's had a great day.